It was just like we're doing 8-9 miles a day.
That's great.
So he Parker called me for the fish fry.
Yeah, went to the fish fry.
And I said, well, his name is Calgary.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Well, the guy told me about next week, he said you're gonna see but it's so cool to go back and see how they did What's the name of it?
It's hard. You missed the game.
We're gonna wait a while. How busy you are.
Usually not too far away.
All right, good morning, folks. I'm showing 9 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call this school board workshop into session. And just like in the past, colleagues, if there's anything that you'd like to talk about or point out, please just stop me and let me know. And same thing for you, Mr. Meyer. I know you're sitting in for the superintendent, so we'll just press ahead and go through each item on the agenda. Now, of course, after the call to order, we have changes or approval of the agenda, and we have no changes for the agenda at this time. And then that takes us into section 3, and we have 3 recognitions. 3.1 will be the proclamation to recognize the month of September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, presented by the superintendent. And then 3.2 is a proclamation to recognize the week of September 17th through 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week, also presented by the superintendent. We have no administrative personnel appointments, and of course we don't know yet about public comment on agenda items. Yes, ma'am.
Back to the recognitions, I think there might be an error.
Okay.
I'm not seeing anything on the screen, but there's those other 2, so that hasn't been updated, is that right, Mary?
Yeah, I see 2.
Okay, so we have 2. Okay, I'm not seeing it on the screen here, so,
Might need to refresh.
okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, yes, ma'am. All right, so in any case, we're on committee and staff reports. 6.1 is in-county travel paid for August 2025 by Ms. Perry. 6.2 is out-of-county travel paid for August 2025 by Ms. Perry. 6.3 is the Okaloosa Public Schools Foundation, a component unit of the Okaloosa County District School Board financial statements for the year ended June 30, 2025, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer. All right, that takes us to consent. Of course, 7.1 is approval. 7.2 is approval of the minutes of the workshop meeting of September the 8th, 2025, and minutes of the regular meeting September the 8th, 2025, all recommended by the superintendent. 7.3, appropriation of District 1 School Board member capital outlay funds to Shalimar Elementary School for clear touch panels in the amount of $12,145.56, presented by myself and recommended by the superintendent. 7.4 is the appropriation of District 4 School Board member capital outlay funds to Shalimar Elementary School for a clear touch panel in the amount of $6,249.41, presented by Mr. Tim Bryant, recommended by the superintendent.
Dr. White, if
Yes,
I
sir.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
And I apologize, Mr. Grant, that I didn't bring this forward, but I just have a question, just more of curiosity. And I saw Eric Mitchell. So Eric, I have a question regarding the clear touches, and I know that some of the school, we have one school that's going all Apple, I think, right now, but as we continue to buy these Clear Touches, I want to make sure that for the future, what's their function? Are we gonna still be able to use these Clear Touches that will integrate with Apple and anything else that we have going on?
Absolutely. There's a great relationship between the Apple products and the Clear Touches. It's becoming easier, even as we've made some recent network changes, it's becoming easier to take an image off the iPad and just put it up on the screen.
Right. So, So, and the reason why I'm asking this, because I just want to reassure, because I've heard teachers ask, you know, what's going to happen if they, you know, when technology catches up. And my understanding that these Clear Touches will integrate with new technology.
Absolutely.
Boards.
Clear Touch systems are designed for just that, total student integration. They work with just about any device we put in front of them.
Okay, all right.
The
Thank you.
iPads do work well with them.
Yes, I was observing that the other day in some of the classrooms. I mean, they zip right through them, so,
Yep.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, Dr. White. All right. Okay, so that takes us to 7.5, appropriation of District 4 School Board member capital outlay funds to Crestview High School for sideline chairs in the amount of $5,874.51 presented by Mr. Bryant and recommended by the superintendent. 7.6, request to advertise a public hearing for the proposed rezoning of student attendance areas for Antioch Elementary School, Bob Sykes Elementary School, Davidson Middle School, Laurel Hill School, Northwood Elementary School, Riverside Elementary School, Shoal River Middle School, and Walker Elementary School to create a new student attendance zone for Pineview School, presented by Mr. John Spolsky, Assistant Superintendent, MIS Community Relations, and recommended by the superintendent for approval.
If I could, Dr. White and board members, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see everybody this morning in this room. Excited about opening this up. Mr. Spolsky and his team has spent a lot of time on this, and as you all are aware, that Pineview is going to open up in August of 26, so we're about 10 months away from that. Mr. Spolsky is going to give us an update on those boundaries and what the proposal is.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Welcome, Mr. Spolsky.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson, all board members, board attorney. I wanted to take a moment today to talk a little bit about North End zoning. Mr. Mers, if you would help me there, flash that. So I will go through and say just how excited I am to be here in front of you this morning for this public advertisement. Of course, we know that we have positioned ourselves to really embrace the growth of the North End County. A lot of that happening with economic development up in those parts, and with our 5 elementary schools and our 2 middle schools, here we are embracing the Pineview construction. Of course, Mr. Meyer is leading that, and as he leads that venture for August of 2026, we also have to look at proposed realignment of the boundaries that are associated with that. So what I would like to do is really kind of just bring the board up to date on our piece today with the boundaries.
Mr. Spolsky, would you like to move? I know you're waiting on slides, is that right?
Well, yes, sir. I
they
think
gonna-
Mr. Paul McNeely in the back there is trying to get us locked in here. I see
Right.
something changing.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to let them work on that and come back and represent, Mr. Meyer, I mean, are you in a position where you?
Absolutely, sir. Very flexible in the work.
I'm just trying to help. I don't want you to be, trying to wait for slides.
Okay.
I think it'd be appropriate to come back to it.
Okay, all right, so
Because
let's.
we have some graphics we want to
Yeah.
make sure everyone sees.
Yeah, that's right, I know you do.
Yes, sir.
I know
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you.
we'll come back.
Thank you, Dr. White.
All right. All right, colleagues, so we'll come back to item 7.6 here. And Ms. Hillary, maybe you can let us know, or one of you guys can let us know when the slides are ready to go. All right. Okay, so that, ready to go now? Well, Mr. Spolsky, that was a, all right, still working. All right. So let's go ahead and go to 7.7. Budget Amendment Number 11, Fiscal Year 24-25, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.8, revised monthly financial statement for June 2025, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.9, invoices to be approved for payment, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. 7.10, school donations, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.11, payroll warrant register and accounts payable warrant register totaling $176,895,674.21. Self-health insurance claims and fees totaling $4,126,753.33. And bank transfers totaling $14,950,000 for August 2025, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the Superintendent. All right, 7.12, permission to pay a materials and supplies stipend to qualified adult vocational teachers, behavior analysts, behavioral interventionists, mental health counselors, occupational therapists, physical therapists, school psychologists, social workers, and staffing specialists, presented by Ms. Perry and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.13, renewal of ITB 23-02, indoor air quality remediation, presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.14, ITB 26-02, epoxy flooring district-wide, presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.15, renewal of ITB 22-02, wastewater treatment plant operator services, presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.16, tag on bid purchase over $50,000 to Lancaster Johnson and Associates, presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.17, tag on bid purchase over $50,000 to AnuVision Technologies, presented by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the Superintendent.
Chairman, I have a
Yes, sir.
quick question.
Sure.
Last night, as I was going through all of our items, I stuck on this one and looked at the charging stations. It looks like we're getting 44 of them. All sounds good and well, but the unit price is $1,347. I found them direct from the manufacturer for $960 if we buy in bulk. What keeps us using AnuVision versus sourcing some of this stuff direct from manufacturer when it seems like it could be procured a lot cheaper? Is that I know this
Mr.
is...
Meyer, I know you're sitting in for the Superintendent, and Mr. Spolsky, I see you approaching the podium.
I'll ask Mr. Mitchell. He did some reviews as we referred to the prior carts for those plans. One of our goals was to have those in place in the August-September timeframe.
Sure.
So I'll let him address that as it pertains to supply chains.
Well, and I go look at some of that, and then you guys can reach out to me in between now and tonight, and
Yes, sir.
we'll straighten it out.
Yes, sir, Mr. Destin.
Thanks.
And Dr. White.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Destin, I think Vince Wyndham would be a good person to reach out to and explain that.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, so that takes us to 7.18, amendment to the award of ITB 21-04, fire alarm certification and repair by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.19, amendment to the award of ITB 20-10 intercom system program by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.20, service agreement number 26-82 QBS LLC by Mr. Wyndham and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.21, sale and disposal of surplus property presented by Mr. Bobby McElroy, Program Director for Maintenance and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.22, surplus, salvage, and dispose of one portable building, school board-owned tangible property in accordance with Florida statutes 1013.28(2)(a) and 274.06, presented by Mr. Bobby McElroy, Program Director, and recommended by the Superintendent.
Another portable bites the dust, and that's a good thing. There you go.
7.23, donate 2 international school buses to Destin High School, presented by Mr. Ryan Gore, Transportation Director, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.24, professional learning catalog for the 25-26 school year, presented by Ms. Duron, Program Director, Professional Services, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.25, agreement to grant Florida Power and Light an underground easement at Pineview School, presented by Dr. Bill Smith, Program Director, Facilities, and recommended by the Superintendent. 7.26, employee benefit program renewal for the 26 plan year, presented by Ms. Sarah Cato, Director, Risk Management, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval.
I think she wants to. Did you want to go over some things
If
with
you
this?
have questions for me, I'll come. If you're okay with it, I'll be silent.
I just want to say how excited I am and all the new things and it's my understanding the premiums for employees not going up, right? That's always good.
Welcome, Ms. Cato.
Good morning. Good morning, thank you. Yes, that's correct. So on the medical side, there's no increases for any of the employees, and then there is a slight increase for dental for the family side. Now retirees will see an increase in the single coverage and the family coverage, but because the district covers for the employee single side, they won't see that particular increase. The other increase, because everything else is pretty much covered under a couple of different year guarantees, but the other coverage is the ASO fee, so that's just the administrative fee that we're charged from UHC, so they can handle the claims on the back end, and that's an increase of 3%, which is very low. Nowadays, most of the time it's between 6 and 13. I know it's a big stretch, but it just depends on who your carrier is, so we got lucky with 3%. So.
Very good.
It's great. I appreciate all the work for you and the BOG have done to get this package. I think our insurance coverage over the last few years has been a major improvement for our employees. So thank you.
Oh,
And like
thank
I
you
said,
for listening to the BOG and having us. They're just a great addition to really seeking beyond the lines to bring in new things. So pet insurance, legal services, ID theft, whole life with guarantee issues. We've got some really good things coming. So be on the lookout for open enrollment, October 13th to November 13th. And we can lock in and be ready for a January 1 go date with our health clinic, so just saying.
yeah. Thank you so much.
All right,
And
thank
I
you.
know we all know this, but when we talk about pet insurance and whole life insurance, those are things that are paid for by the employee or by the retiree, and I want to make sure that everyone out there listening.
Yes, that's true. They get
understands
to
that.
make the choice if they would like
That's
to
right.
elect that and pay that on their behalf.
Yes, ma'am, that's right. Okay, good point. Well, I just don't want the emails and the calls.
We're doing pet insurance now? Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Cato.
Thank you.
All right, and then 7.27, school readiness provider contract presented by Ms. Holly Tu, Director 1, Curriculum and Instruction, and recommended by the superintendent. All right, takes us through consent, takes us down to superintendent's human resources
Dr. White,
recommendation.
we could
You
go
guys-
back to.
You want to go back now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, let's scroll back there. All right, Mr. Spolsky, we'll try it again, all right?
Yes, sir, Dr.
That's
White.
on item 7.6, colleagues. Okay.
This is some background information, a request for a public hearing. Purpose and priority, obviously, is to provide capacity for our north end zone. We want to align these attendance zones, these boundaries for our Pineview K-8 campus. We will identify the students that are currently enrolled in our 5 elementary schools and our 2 middle schools, as well as our K-12 schools. There's a little different variable with this than there was just 5 years ago, of course, with the state legislature allowing any school, any student to go to any school based on capacity, called COE, or controlled open enrollment. So we will identify students. We'll go through a process to expedite really an engagement piece with them so that they can sit down and look through these things if this hearing and the proposed plan is accepted. We want to create capacity and balance I looked at some of the numbers recently. It's very interesting when we look at our South End elementary schools, we look at our South End middle schools, then we look at our Central, and then our North End. Each grade level has approximately 2,300 students. Every grade level, if we just take a quick average. So first graders is about 2,300, second graders, eighth graders. Because if you take 13 kindergarten plus our 12 grades, then that's about 32,000 students in our district. So we look at that for our balance, and we look at that mathematical equation to create capacity in an area that's going through large economic growth. We also will identify those students based on their boundaries, okay, their residential boundaries. So our MGT partners who helped us with a lot of this data and analytics, they do all of their predictions based on addresses. But as I mentioned, COE, parent choice, a lot of that does fluctuate for each of our schools. Excuse me. So here is our current proposal for the K-12 boundaries. You can see the purple is the Northwood. Bob Sykes shoots up north in the light blue. Walker shoots not only north but northeast in the green. Laurel Hill's up top in the gray, and the Antioch is down below. Pineview is the new beige color, and Riverside is the high dense population in the middle there of the white. So we actually have on this map that we'll go over with parents, the current boundaries are in blue, and so colors that are outside the current boundaries obviously are new areas where there would be a realignment or an adjustment in the boundaries themselves. We actually have easels that the MIS team with projected maps, paper maps that we'll take out to the schools pending this request to communicate this boundary for the K-5 schools. So Pineview is interesting because it'll have two boundaries, one for K-5 and also one for 6-8. But we did try to keep those parallel so we didn't have families split that had students in both K-5 and the 6-8. That was part of the team and MGT helping us work through those as well. We used our natural resources. We used our natural rivers and roads. We used the interstates. We used 85 with as much as we could, because really these boundaries were created based on numbers. Okay. This is the 6-8 boundary. There were only 2 middle schools, not including the 2 K-12 schools, up in that area. Davidson being very highly populated, Shoal River also large compared to some of our South End middle schools. We have currently, including Baker and Laurel Hill, including Destin Middle, subtracting out the K-5, there's about 6,800 middle school students out there right now. And if we divided every one the same, they would be about 650. We know our projection for Pineview, the capacity is right at the 500, 600 mark for middle school. So we're looking at, with this proposed boundary, about 500 students starting their middle school, with COE being our valve that we can turn on or turn off students to allow them to come into that school. Questions on that from anyone so far?
Colleagues?
This is our projected timeline. We are asking for a public hearing to be not only requested, but considered. And then we will move forward through the timeline pending that decision this evening. We will also reach out not only to the families in the January-February timeframe, but we have meetings scheduled pending tonight's vote to start visiting those schools so that families can really sit down for the 26-27 school year before then and decide where their children will go to school based on their proposed boundaries and based on COE.
And I appreciate that timeline that you just put up there, Mr. Spolsky, and I know
Yes, sir.
colleagues will want to kind of keep up with it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Obviously, one of my duties, I get to be a part of the communication team. So our communication team will use all of our technology tools, whether it be letters, reach outs, face-to-face meetings, QR codes, websites, frequently asked questions. We want to make sure that parents know exactly what is happening. We want to make sure parents have all the information so they can make choices if this proposed plan were to go to a vote. So we'll work with our human resources team. Dr. Hale is behind me here at the senior staff table, because we know that wherever students flow to new schools, that the teachers will have to flow with those students as well. So we have set up a zoning webpage where we will list, not only have a email address where parents, teachers, employees, citizens can send in emails. It is actually going to be manned by Miss Amanda DeWitt, part of our MIS team, to get those questions so that we can really review those questions and come up with a solution and an answer for them. I will tell you, my experience so far with this is every question has its own feel and touch, because families making decisions what's best for themselves as it pertains to work, as it pertains to transportation, as it pertains to activities and offerings. And as we know, the plan right now for Pineview is for our K-8 campus to be a comprehensive school. It is going to be large, it is going to be new, but at the same time, we want to make sure our senior staff and our board that we're taking care of our existing schools that are there right now doing the work. We want to make sure that we're insulating them from large change as this. Any questions for me at this point?
Mr. Bryant?
So no questions, just some comments. So first of all, we talked about COE. So people need to understand that if your child is enrolled in the school that they're currently in and you happen to be part of the rezoning process, you will have an option to be able to stay at the current school you're at, pending getting transportation, of course.
Yes, sir.
And also, if you look at the map, it looks like there's a lot of roads, a lot of neighborhoods, but a lot of that is businesses. So if you kind of look at some of the zones, it looks like there's a lot of homes in there, but it's really a lot of businesses that kind of are in those areas there. You did show me like a pin dot where students are and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be readily available for us to see eventually?
Yes, sir. We can make that graphic available.
Okay. I think it's important that my colleagues kind of see that, because, you know, me living in Crestview, I mean, I can visually see a lot of this is, you know, looks like, you know, why are we doing that? But it's really because there's not a lot of homes there. It's mostly businesses that are there, or, you know.
Yes, sir. Commercial properties and commercial businesses are spread throughout, but also there's a lot of undeveloped dirt and soil. And so we looked at that when we were grabbing different tracks. This MGT partner projection went out till 2034. And we do anticipate that Crestview will continue to grow because of that land.
Well, and I'm glad you said that, because we did have this discussion, because we do know that there is a lot more growth coming, a lot more homes that are coming. Now, the challenge is are these homes gonna have children in them? And we know the demography right now shows that nationwide we're, you know, about less than 2 children per, you know, couple, which is really, you know, something we should be concerned about as a nation. But what we're seeing, the growth of the people that are coming in, there's not usually a lot of kids that are coming with them either. So,
yes, sir.
But I know, looking at some of these maps, there's pockets where there's going to be big home developments that are currently being done right now, that the infrastructure is finished up, so they should start building houses soon. But I know you said, and I appreciate that, so people know that we've already been thinking about that and how the zoning is going to affect the schools with these new homes coming in. So I just want people to know, just like you said, that we have been looking ahead to the future. But again, we don't know. We really don't know. I mean, we can go with the data, but we won't know until that day gets here, you know. So
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Colleagues, anything from Mr. Spolsky? Well, just to say how much we appreciate all the time and the work that you put into this, and you and your staff and your colleagues, and and our partner, as you suggested, our consultant. Mammoth amount of work, and I appreciate the foresight that Mr. Bryant spoke about and looking at areas for growth, because we don't want to come back and redo this again.
Yes, sir.
Not anytime soon.
Understood, sir.
So thank you.
Yes,
I
sir.
think that this, you went over it with each of us. I think this is the most commonsensical way of doing this and going to cause the least upheaval in moving families and students. I mean, it just makes sense, like you said, looking at those natural boundaries, the rivers, everything. About growth, I do think when you drive to Pine View, and with the bypass and everything, of course, you know how those things typically happen. They'll grow to the school, and you can see that, we can see that coming. But again, we don't have a crystal ball, but I know that you've looked at that as you've done these boundaries, anticipating out to 34, what we can. So very well thought out plan, and appreciate so much you and everyone who's worked on it.
It's been a very large cross-curricular team between transportation, MIS, our MGT partners, senior staff. It's been a big deal, and we have a long way to go, and I think it's important that we bring our families along with us in this, so that they can really sit down at the kitchen tables to decide what's best for them. And so we'll be here for them, not only via email, but we'll be with them at their schools, really having those tough conversations and answering those questions. And our team, Ms. Mazur, Ms. Ross, Ms. DeWitt, Mr. Gore, Mr. Peterson, we are committed to going to those schools. All 7, 8 of them. Baker's not even within any kind of new proposed boundaries, and we have a date to go to Baker just so we can answer those questions.
Because the bottom line is, while it's exciting to have a new school and all the wonderful things that brings, it's also challenging. They're not going to start day one with the developed programs that a school that's been around for several years is going to have. It's going to take a while to build a band, especially at your extracurricular, in those kinds of things. And I know you and I had the discussion about someone who has a student who wants to be a big part of a big band program. Pine View may not be it day one, because you have to build things. So I agree with you. It's going to take some conversations at home so getting this out. If we approve it tonight, then you start moving out. I think we're a really good time frame of letting these families know, so they have plenty of time to think it through. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Spolsky, I appreciate you saying some of the things that you just said about transportation, geography, because we talked about this.
Yes, sir.
And even though Pine View will not be in my zone, I have 2 outliers, and I think you were kind of surprised what I thought was an outlier school, which was Antioch. Because
Yes, sir.
if you look at that map, I can get to all of those schools within a couple of minutes, except for Antioch and Laurel, because of the traffic flow. That's a challenge right there. And hopefully with the new bypass and some of the new feeder roads that are going to be coming and going out of there, it's going to make it a little bit easier. It's still challenging in our area for transportation. So I'm glad that you brought that up too, because you did have to put that into consideration, the transportation piece. So.
Yes, sir, I appreciate you saying that, Mr. Bryant. Living there, Highway 85 for on is the spinal cord, and our buses and all of us travel that to go north and south. But what's really interesting when you get into this work, where Bob Sykes, Northwood, and Walker are in that triangle, the only way for those zones to move were outward, like tentacles. And so that's really the reason why over years and years, the Northwood zone has that odd shape, right? Because it literally has to grab students in different parts of the county. And before Shoal and Riverside was there, or even before Davidson was there, I'm dating myself a little bit, there were obviously less zones there, but we will continue this work pending tonight in the hearing.
And I do have one more comment regarding
Sir.
transportation, and Mr. Gore, you might be able to throw this out there. But we look at the map and, you mentioned Northwood, but it's fair to say that when buses run on time and we're fully staffed, the average bus ride is probably about 30 minutes per student. Even in the Northwood area there, that could.
I'd say 30 to 45.
Yeah, so.
Anything else? Mr. Meyer?
Yes, sir, if I could, because I know the superintendent would want to pass on his appreciation to you, Mr. Spolsky, and the team, and this is a large undertaking. And he had said from the get-go, we want to minimally impact our families as much as possible and balance these student enrollments where we have capacity at some of these other elementary schools and the middle schools. So that was a big task. This is important to him. We haven't done this in 17 years, so he was not in place, and most of this board was not doing what we're doing currently. So we appreciate you and your team, and I see them back there and everybody involved. So
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. And if I could just tell one quick story real quick, and I know I shared this with you. When I first moved here in 2001, we bought a house off of John King Road, and we were zoned for Antioch. We heard it was the new school, so we were like really excited that our child at the time was going to go to Antioch. Well, after we closed on the house, guess what? There was rezoning, and we got rezoned to Southside. I say that because parents, I want you to understand that every school that we have in our school system is a great school. It is what you make of it. So if you don't get to go to Pine View, it's okay. Be a part of the school that you're in. Make a difference in the school. I will tell you that having our children go to Southside was a great experience for us as parents, but also for my boys. They really thrived and excelled at the school. Now, they would have probably done the same at Antioch, but, we thrived at Southside. But it was because, as parents, we were involved. And I encourage you, be involved with your schools and make them the best that they can be. And whether you're going to the brand-new school at Pineview or, to Bob Sykes, which is one of our older schools, guess what? They're still great schools, and you can make a difference. So,
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Anything else? Okay, all right, very good. All right, so let's go ahead and scroll back down now to Superintendent's Human Resources recommendations, and we are on 8.1 and 8.2, both information items. 8.1 would be employees on admin leave, and then 8.2, deferred retirement option program. All right, 8.3, this is an action item from now on. 8.3, proposed fiscal year 25-26 salary schedules for school administrative, department, administrative, managerial, professional, technical number 1, professional, technical number 2, and temporary personnel assigned by Dr. Hale, presented by Dr. Hale, and recommended by the superintendent. 8.4, out-of-field report for the 25-26 school year, presented by Ms. Duran, and recommended by the superintendent. 8.5, employment separation is presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.6, personnel recommendations presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.7, employee transfers presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.8, employee suspension presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.9, employee suspension presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.10, employee suspension presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. And then 8.11, employee suspension presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. 8.12, reinstatement reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, and medical examination presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. And then 8.13, leave without pay presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. At this time, there are no items on the discussion agenda. On section 10 would be the construction program and owner's representatives business. 10.1 is the program status report. Mr. Heinley?
And we gave that report at the last meeting.
Yes, sir. So we'll have one the next time we meet. That's the plan.
Sure.
All right. And then 10.2 is an action item. Program number 6, task order number 27, pre-GMP for Bruner Middle School chilled water piping HVAC project presented by Dr. Smith and recommended by the superintendent. All right, takes us down to, Mr. Attorney, your business, sir.
No report this morning.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Meyer, you're sitting in for the superintendent, and anything that you've got for us today?
Yes, sir, just a few things, and Mr. Chambers is at the FHSAA meeting today and tomorrow, then he'll be at the superintendent meeting the rest of the week. But we did find out some exciting news this morning. Mr. Chambers was selected as the president of the Florida High School Athletics Association. So it just goes to show you that,
I don't know if that's a condolences.
true.
We might have to charge a rental fee.
It does show, the leadership he has throughout the state and the support that he has in athletics. So we're excited for him as well.
Yep.
And then, as you know, that it is American Founders Month, and we're at the tail end of Constitution Week. A lot has been going on throughout the district, and at this time, Ms. Holly Tu is going to come up and share some of that information.
Welcome, Ms. Tu. You got a little button, I think. There you go.
There we go. Thank you. So Hillary, are you ready? Oh, I am in charge. I got all these. Okay, there we go. So we're just recapping. We discussed a few weeks ago what we were going to be doing, so we're just recapping some of the things that have occurred. So to celebrate American Founders Month, schools across the district have held patriotic dress-up days, and we have also held a few pep rallies. So here's some pictures of some of the things that have transpired. Some cute kiddos. Several high schools hosted military appreciation nights during football games. At Choctaw, members of the 6th Ranger Training Battalion also participated. So you see some of them here with some of the vehicles and other transport items that they brought to share. On September 11th, students took part in reading activities to learn about the events of that day and why it matters. They studied the hijacking of 4 planes and the attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the crash in Pennsylvania. Choctaw cadets also presented the colors of the airport, helping to connect the impact of 9/11 to the airline workers and the airport security changes that ensued. At Fort Walton Beach High School and Davidson Middle School, firefighters, students, staff, military members, and community volunteers climbed 110 flights of stairs, symbolizing the 110 floors on the Twin Towers. This powerful tribute honored the bravery of first responders and remembered the 343 individuals who lost their lives on 9/11. On Constitution Day, students learned about the importance of the Constitution as the foundation of our country's laws and fairness. To help students understand why rules matter, some teachers had them play games with and without rules, making the lesson both fun and meaningful. So we're excited about all the great things that our schools have been doing to recognize our great country.
Very good. All right, colleagues, any questions, comments?
Just a great work. I mean, that's inspiring is what that is. So
We have some wonderful educators across our district.
Thank you, Ms. All right, colleagues, anything else for the superintendent? That's it? Okay, all right, colleagues, that takes us down to board members' announcements. 3.1 is a school board member travel request. That'll be an action item. 3.2, excuse me.
Can I comment on
Sure.
13.1?
Sure.
So this is, I'm requesting to go to the National Summit on Education. This is Governor Jeb Bush's Excel in Ed organization. And I will just tell you that the last couple of years that I've been to this, it really is eye-opening because a lot of things that are talked about at this particular conference have affected Florida education. So the good thing is it's within driving distance this time, so I can drive to New Orleans, but I'll just say that it's very informative, and that is why I'd like to go, just to kind of keep an eye on what will probably be happening in Florida education over the years. So.
All right. All right, so we'll act on that tonight. And then 13.2 is a designation of a school board member to serve as the board's representative to the educational support professional of the year. Now, colleagues, you'll notice that these are, normally we take care of these things at an organizational meeting, but because of changes in schedules, we've had to bump them up. And so I know that some of us are already serving in these capacities. So in any case, we've got to fill 13.2.
And I've never served on the education support.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would be okay with it, but if anybody else would like to stay.
Well, who's currently serving?
I am.
Okay, so, all right. So,
I mean,
don't
Mr.
know.
Vancheck would
Yeah,
like to
yeah,
continue.
that's the thing.
I've done it a couple times. It does, you know, I'm glad to do whatever. If you'd like to, you know, do it for a time, that'd be fine.
I'll do it for this year.
Well, I bet you Ms. Vancheck will nominate. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do that one tonight. And then 13.3, this is the one that I've been doing, and I would continue to do this. Designation of the school board member to serve as the board's representatives as the principal of the year and the assistant principal of the year selection committee.
Well, you are the member of the board who has been in both of those positions, so
Okay.
that makes sense if you want to continue with that.
Thank you, ma'am. So maybe you can make 2 nominations.
I'm on it.
Okay.
My only thing is, when we get to November,
Yeah.
we don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, like you said, normally we do this all at one time, so we know our commitments.
Yes, ma'am.
So this does make it a little,
So, knowing that education support comes quick, I mean, I've already been seeing where they've announced it, even at our work meeting, could we still go ahead and do that for next year? I mean, we could still go ahead and just do that at the next work meeting and just say who we want to
for
serve.
the next year?
Yeah, for the next year, so it doesn't come up like this.
Okay,
at the
so
last
you're
one.
going to do this,
Like you-
if you get it this time, then we'll just
We'll
do it again.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
And then, like you said, for planning purposes, you know.
We'll just have to remember to do that. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
And are you interested in staying, you said,
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
other one? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so then we go to 13.4 for board members' announcements and requests for information. So, Mr. Heinley, I'll just start over there with you, sir.
Okay, just a few things. I want to thank Mr. Destin for inviting me out to Pine View for the fish fry. I didn't make it. I was out of town, but you've done that a couple times, and kudos to you. And I'm going to come out there soon and see the progress. I hear it's changing almost on a weekly basis. So that's awesome. I do want to give kudos for the zoning. Excellent work. Your brief to each one of us was good. The whole thing is clean and nice, effective. So excellent work on all that. So, and that's all I got outside my tradition. Today is 22nd. So board members, who is the 22nd president of the United States?
Cleveland.
You are correct.
So I did find out some tidbits about this too, so I did look it up. So, you know, he was a bachelor when he came in, but he was married, and he was the first president to have a child born at the White House.
You are correct. And what's the big thing about Grover Cleveland that relates to this time?
Well, he served non-consecutively.
That's correct.
He was 22 and 24, not 45 and 47.
Exactly.
All right.
That's all I have, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Heinley.
Oh, wait a second, Mr. Heinley. I mean, you're wearing something there. I mean, you kind of have to mention it.
Yes. Yes. I've already taken a picture of it and sent it to Principal Murillo. And I will have another picture tonight, I believe. And,
Gosh.
you know, so.
It's tough, isn't it?
It is tough. So, but you know, humble pie goes with the big mouth.
No kidding.
Sometimes my mouth leads where I can write a check.
Too bad they're not doing Baker, then I'd get you a shirt.
Rebuilding year.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Vancheck.
Yes, thank you. A couple of things. First of all, you knew back in the spring, the foundation talked about a grant that was received by the Choctaw High School ROTC for a classroom makeover, and that has happened, and we're going to be revealing that tomorrow at Choctaw. They've redone their aviation piece for ROTC, so I'm excited to see that. The foundation is also hosting its 5th annual barbecue and bingo. This is our major fundraiser where we give our classroom grants to our teachers. It's on November 6th. And this year we're going to be doing it in the Shoe Foundation in Fort Walton, which is great. It's going to be real exciting to go there. So put that on your calendar. It's a lot of fun. And I've gone every year. I've never won. I do know how to play bingo, but I never win. But it's a fun time. A couple other things. I did go to Pineview last week. That was so exciting. And the program manager, I think that's his title, Frank, gave me a personal ride out around the campus. And I mean, I could just about touch the bricks that they were putting in. Just every time, every little piece of it, I kept going, this is exciting. This is so thrilling. It's going to be an absolutely fabulous campus. And it's coming along really well. It's so huge, more than you would think. It looks to me like a small college out there. He told me they have about 100 workers working 7 days a week. They're really doing everything they can to get things done. And he was able to give me some insight on some things, from his perspective. So I appreciate being able to go out there. Mr. Destin and also a buddy of our school district, Lloyd Taylor, did the fish fry, so I was able to speak with some of the workers. They have quite a few women working out there. He told me that many of the masons are ladies, so that was good. So very exciting with Pineview, and he did say, come back in a month, you'll see another major difference. I would like to congratulate the Fort Walton Beach High School football coach, Josh Pulliam. It was his first win as a head coach, and the reason this is kind of personal to me in that Josh is a former student of mine, and I'm just so proud of him for him to do that. And this week is homecoming at the Swamp, and for the Gators, they're having homecoming this week. It's exciting. They're going to be playing a team out of Alabama, Houston County, on Friday. The Baker Gators did go to 5-0 after Friday night's big win. So we're excited about that. And this year for homecoming, they're inviting back players who were in their state championships, which is 5 years of state champions, starting at 83, 84, 85, 93, and 2020. And also they were runner-up 4 years. So they're inviting all those players back for this year's homecoming. So I'm excited to do that. And I'll be in the parade. And that's a whole nother experience, which is great. So big week for the Baker Gators and homecoming. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Manchak. Mr. Bryant.
Thank you, Dr. White. First of all, I would just like to say thank you to this board for allowing me the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. a couple weeks ago. I'll just tell you that it was, once again, a wonderful experience. We, as a delegation, we met with all of our elected representatives, both senators. Now, albeit some of them, we met with their senior staff, but we met with 21 actual representatives. And we did run into Rick Scott, so we did actually get to talk to him a little bit. I will also say that it was an honor to be able to talk to our representative, District 1, Jimmy Petronas, and he actually sent me a nice little card. So thank you, Congressman Petronas, for that and meeting with us out on the steps of Capitol Hill. So that was a pretty great experience. I'll just tell you that the vibe in Washington, D.C. is, of course, the Department of Education is a big thing, still a big talking point. But I was reassured by everybody that we talked to, both Republican and Democrat, that the money isn't going away, which we knew that. It was just going to be directed through different channels to get to the school districts. So that was a little bit more comforting to know that. I would also like to take a moment to recognize two of our employees, Meg Dorsey and Penny Palmer. Now, Miss Dorsey, about 2 months ago, caught me at Shoal River, I believe it was, and she's like, Mr. Bryant, I would love for you to come and just shadow me for the day. And I was like, okay, that would be great. Send me a date. So we made it happen the other day. Now, what Miss Dorsey and Miss Palmer do is that, we hire new teachers, a lot of new teachers, some that are actually new to education, some that aren't, just new to the district. And, the thought is that any employer, you hire somebody, you're not just gonna throw them out there and just say, hey, figure it out on your own. We don't do that. I mean, we have a process in place where we have these two ladies that will actually go and mentor with teachers, actually go into the classrooms and observe. So I spent the whole day with Miss Dorsey, and just the response that I heard from those teachers, how much they appreciated her, and I'm sure Miss Palmer gets the same feedback. It just makes me feel good that we have a process in place that will help these teachers get through their first year. And I was not a teacher, but I remember my first day on my career job, how nervous and how scared I was that I wasn't gonna do something right. And I'm sure these teachers, first year teachers, are probably sitting there thinking the same thing, but they're dealing with children all day long, and then parents on top of that. So, but I will just say that Miss Dorsey just has, those that know her already know she's such a wonderful teacher. We hated that she's not in the classroom, but she is doing such a great job, again, along with Miss Palmer, that they have that relationship with these new teachers. And I'll just say the last teacher that we met with was at Ruckle, and he's a PE coach, and Logan was his name, first name. But he was just so excited to see Miss Dorsey, because he had so much he wanted to tell her from the last time that they had talked, and all the things that she made mention that she could improve on. And so, you look at this as a way to delicately, help these teachers get through. So I'm really excited that we have those two people in place. And our hope is that they'll be able to be career educators once they get past that first year. That first year is always a challenge. Probably that first week is even more of a challenge, but once they get past that first year, it's definitely a challenge. So thank you to that. And just with it being Patriotic Month, it's just such a joy to live in a county where we celebrate America, not just for the month, but we celebrate America all the time in our district. And I don't know about most people, but I'm proud to be an American every day, and I'm glad that our district promotes that. And we have a whole month to promote it, but we promote it all year round. So, but thank you to all that have made that happen this month. It's red, white, and blue is such an awesome color combination. And then quickly, if you notice, we're in our new boardroom, so thank you to everybody who's made it happen. It's kind of cool to be in the new boardroom, and we're really excited to have our first meeting here today. And that is it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Mr. Destin.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a few things. Thank you for the shout out to Coach Josh Pulliam. He's doing really well with a brand new team, and so that W meant a lot. I know it did. So thank you for the shout out. And just two items. The first one is going to be all of us have our zone schools. We all have a pretty good collegial understanding between all of us that while we are zoned for different schools, that we represent certain ones. Every school belongs to us, but I think it's double true that Richburg and Silver Sands schools belong to all of us, and so we worry about them in equal amounts. So as we know that those schools serve a special needs community, family, they don't have certain things that other schools have, which is a large student population and a large PTO that can help them fundraise. So to that extent, I'll make a pitch to everybody at the district level. We're going to be doing a fish fry on October 24th at 5 o'clock before the Choctaw for Walton Beach football game. And it's a fish fry where 100% of the proceeds will go back into the school. And we're trying to fill the gap, I think, that has been left by a previous big booster of Silver Sands, which was the Montalto family, Pandora's Steakhouse. They used to annually do a very large silent auction and fundraising activities, and all of it went to Silver Sands, and it was a big amount of resources that was poured directly into the school. Well, the restaurant's not around anymore. So we're gonna try to fill that gap, and I know that the community cares an awful lot about that school. You can buy the tickets, they're $10 a piece online. Buy a few even if you don't plan to show up and buy, and eat the food. But we'd love to see you there. It'll be at Silver Sands right before the game, and then you can catch the good rivalry game right after. So that's the first one, and the second one is my ride or die, Tim Bryant. Thank you for showing up and helping me sling some snowballs for some really great accomplishments for getting an A at Bruner. That's quite the turnaround. And I will tell all of my other board members, please come help us celebrate Walker doing the same thing on November the 12th. I believe that's going to happen at noon. Amber, if you have the ability to put that on the superintendent's calendar, the more the merrier. And that's all I've got. Thanks.
Mr. Destin, what time is the fish fry on the 24th?
I believe we're going to start serving at 5. We'll run it till 6:30, and I think kickoff is at 7.
All right, colleagues, so that takes us through board members' announcements and brings us down to section 14, public comment. And this will be folks that want to comment about any other matter not on the agenda. And there are no public hearings to be advertised, so anything from staff? Okay, association, we're good. Superintendent, we're good. All right, this meeting is adjourned.
Hey, thank you for
You bet.